Hello, Great River School families of the elementary. This is Sam O'Brien, your head of school. I'm here to give you a quick summary of the Family Forum question and answers that happened this past Tuesday, December 29th. And I'll remind you there's another Family Forum next Tuesday, January 5th, 6 to 7 p.m. You can attend live or you can send in questions by email before then. I'll also be answering all the questions that were in the survey that's happening live right now. The most important emphasis is that there's a current survey. It's really important that we get every voice from every family as part of that survey. And a couple quick items. One, the survey is not anonymous because we want to be able to follow up with you individually if you have a question or a concern or feedback or needs for your student. And secondly, we found that we can get best participation if we know who's filled it out, so we can really follow up with folks for whom the digital survey may not work. So here's the takeaway in one sentence. Your answers have a meaningful effect and really a driving change as to what decisions we make about how we deliver education. And so your participation in this survey is super important. Over the next 2 minutes or so, I'm just going to go over what we went over that night. And I did use a whiteboard, and I will outline the 4 main topics that I used that night. Luckily, I saved the whiteboard and run us through a summary of what happened. So first, I talked about what changed since Minnesota's December 16th announcement. Secondly, I talked about what actions we're taking now as a school, and I did answer a lot of questions about the survey and the format and why it's structured the way it is. Also, what are the responses from staff and families? I also answered several questions about if staff have been asked if they're willing or prefer to come in or not. I'll get to that in a moment. And then we had some takeaways and next steps, and so I'll get to that too. So just first off, what changed on December 16th is the state of Minnesota changed the health guidelines for elementary schools, and specifically that instead of using just cases per 10,000 to decide what our school model should be, they changed their guidance to say that elementary schools should use adjusted testing for staff, so twice a month test all staff to try to be on top of if there are asymptomatic COVID cases in our community. Secondly, to have a changed student distancing recommended by the American Academy of Pediatrics of 3 feet. And third, to have masks and shields for staff, because in healthcare, in logistical and processing and packing facilities, and in shipping facilities where adults wear both of those, even in high exposure areas, they remain healthy at very high rates, and there's a very low transmission rate even in those settings. And so the Department of Health gave those guidances, and they gave those guidances, I said this past Tuesday, and it remains true because case rates per 10,000 in counties are expected to remain high simply because of the prevalence of the disease currently in the state. Meaning, very few elementary schools would have been able to return without a special waiver. And so that is a driving factor of why they changed the health guidance. It's informed by having better data about the relative health and danger for students and staff of being in person in elementary settings. And I've linked here a couple really useful links that are also in an email I just sent to you. And so you can check these links or look them up. But Dr. Michael Osterholm is a University of Minnesota professor and researcher. There's also a Care 11 report on his podcast that I think has been shared. It was sent to me by a couple parents after it was shared in a parent group. In any case, I think that data is helpful for you to watch as a parent and a family if you're curious. And so why the survey from Great River, and why was it so quick and so different from past surveys? Well, specifically, we recognized a need to gather answers and reactions really with just 4 school working days between December 16th and January 4th. And so we sent surveys to our staff, and we drafted a survey with as specific information as possible for you. And I understand the options that we gave were limited, and what we were trying to do is give accurate options for the most sort of drastic version of an in-person model and the most drastic version of a distance learning change that could happen due to staffing constraints or other things, to see where families would make those hard choices right now. Clearly, we were under some pressure. We recognize that if other elementary schools open, some of our families, especially ones who are really, really looking to see their students in person, are passionate about finding that and might feel pressured to switch schools. Secondly, we also know that there is a large contingent of our families who are really passionate also about staying in distance learning until the whole epidemic and pandemic are really better under control. And so we understand that there are many views on this difficult decision. Your answers inform how we're going to meet your differing and diverging needs successfully. And so clearly, the survey choices and the limited options I see had an impact on families that caused a lot of frustration. And I apologize. We're going to learn from this and we're going to do better. I'm going to reach out to the folks who have noted where the survey failed or was broken and could have done better. And we're going to improve. And so we're going to share the current survey data in full transparency, all the staff survey data and all the family survey data. And when I say full transparency, we're going to give the overall numbers, and I'm going to answer all of the immediate questions that were in the survey from families on our January 5th Family Forum. And now, actions we're taking now is that we need you to fill out this survey. We wanted to share specifics of what's happening, and then your answers, again, have meaningful driving change in how we work and how we make decisions going forward. Right now for data, we gave a preview last Tuesday, and you can watch the longer video if you want to see more of that. But again, we're going to have a full preview of data on Tuesday, January 5th. And then some takeaways is that we're returning to distance learning on January 4th, which is Monday. We're going to stay in distance learning, I anticipate, for all of cycle 3. And I'm anticipating that and confident to say that to you now because the answers that you've had on the survey so far as a family group have indicated to us that we likely misanticipated and misstepped in anticipating that there was going to be a large amount of pressure to open quickly. Secondly, we want to assess the current survey from families and staff and then have our forum on January 5th. And when we make an announcement of next steps and timeline on January 7th, we will be seriously and meaningfully not only weighing the science that has come forward, but your input and how, again, we can move forward to meet the divergent needs of families who, again, are passionate on many sides of this issue and want better information. And so we're sharing with you all the best information we have, and it really helps us when you come back directly to either me as head of school or us as a general school administration with feedback on where we can improve, and or if you see there are things that we've missed, or if you have suggestions for solutions that you think we might not have asked for yet. So thank you for your time, and I look forward to seeing everyone either at the January 5th forum or send your question in. And just one last reminder, the survey is still live through midnight on January 1st, tomorrow. We'll start processing that data January 2nd through 6th, and then we'll have a report back to you again on Tuesday evening, January 5th at the Family Forum, and then some next steps and timelines announced on January 7th. And one last time, I anticipate, because of the feedback in our current data we've gotten, remaining in our cycle 3 distance learning cycle, executing that plan that we made really well, and then really using the science and using your feedback to meet the divergent needs of both on-site folks and distance learning folks as we move forward into the spring. So thank you much and take care.